Privacy, the right to silence, and a simple desire just to be left alone by the government aren't just for criminals or people who, quote, have something to hide, unquote, but they're for everyone. And that's why Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantees everyone the right to life, liberty, and security of the person. And it's something to be especially mindful of in today's day where there's so much surveillance going on. Hello, I'm Nicholas Wansbutter, a criminal defense lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, and this is Don't Talk TV. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different yet again today, something a little more practical versus talking about the law per se, and that is ways to protect yourself from surveillance, identity theft, or other breaches of privacy. Now, in 2021, more than any other time in Canadian history, this is something that Canadians need to be concerned about, and there's a number of ways that the government or other individuals may infringe upon your privacy. This can be done by physical surveillance, actually following an individual around and watching where they're going and seeing what they're doing. But in today's culture, where cell phones are almost omnipresent, police don't need to follow people around to see where they're going. They can track you just using your cell phone. Various government agencies will also engage in data mining, just reading through Facebook and seeing what people are saying, and even going through emails, and some emails are more secure than others. They can also use search warrants to search your computer and go through things that are stored on your computer. And as I've mentioned, you can be tracked very easily by your cell phone, and this is being done routinely without search warrants. Now, I think it's important to keep in mind that, as I mentioned, some forms of communication are more secure than others, and I would make a couple of analogies. I would suggest that using social media, posting on Twitter, posting on Facebook, is really the equivalent of skywriting, where an individual takes an airplane and writes a message in the sky using contrails. Using a non-encrypted email service like Gmail, or a non-encrypted message like a regular text messages on your cell phone, is like sending a postcard in the mail. It's a little bit more secure, but anyone who happens across it can easily read it. And I think it's important to mention that telephone companies, cell phone providers, have stored on their systems all of your text messages, and I've been involved in numerous cases where police simply served a production order on a cell phone provider, and they received every text message received or sent by a particular cell phone during a time period that they specify. The third and most private form of electronic communication would be encrypted. So there's encrypted email providers or encrypted messaging services. Personally, I'm a big fan of Proton Mail. I use Proton Mail for my business email and for my private email. It's encrypted on both ends. The servers are in Switzerland, and they're very secure. To my knowledge, no one's been able to hack them yet, although there have been several attempts on their servers. As for messaging, recently Elon Musk was encouraging individuals to get Signal. Again, that's an application that I'm a fan of. It's end-to-end encrypted, and it, most importantly, has a disappearing messages function. And what that does is you can set a timeline of 30 minutes, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, or a week. And after that time period has elapsed, a message self-destructs, and it can never be found. When I was looking into what sort of messaging system I wanted to use, I looked up a number of American court cases where the executives of CEO had been subpoenaed to court, and they were not able to produce anything. All they could tell the court was, this is the last time that this user logged onto our system. We can't tell you any more than that because we don't have anything more than that. We don't have any of the messages that they've been sending back and forth. And just anecdotally, I can say that from a couple of search warrant cases that I've done where police obtained a search warrant, went into a phone and extracted everything off of the phone, they weren't able to get anything out of the Signal app. Whereas when I see them going into text messaging or other apps, they're able to pull out every single message sent to and from that phone. And again, non-encrypted messages are stored on your cell phone provider's servers, and the police can retrieve that at any time. Now, in terms of tracking, I think this is something that bears a special consideration, especially in today's environment. There's a couple of articles that I have here that I just want to show quickly. These are from last year, one's from March and one's from April, but I think they still apply to today's circumstances because we're still in this COVID-19 environment where emergency orders are being used to infringe upon civil liberties in a number of ways. And I suspect that these things are still going on, but even if they aren't, these articles certainly demonstrate that this can happen. So the first article I'm looking at here is from a website called The Logic, and the title of the article is City of Toronto Gathering Cell Phone Location Data from Telecoms in Bid to Slow Spread of COVID-19, Tory. So this article speaks about a speech that the Mayor of Toronto, John Tory, gave to a large gathering called Tech TO. And what Mayor Tory said was, quote, "We had the cell phone companies give us all the data on the pinging off their network on the weekend so we could see where were people still congregating." And Mayor Tory described this data collection as, quote, "something we're doing now," unquote, adding that he wasn't sure whether the data would make a significant difference, quote, "but I asked for it and I'm getting it," end of quote. Now, Mayor Tory subsequently retracted that and said that that data collection actually wasn't happening, but it seems to me that his comments were quite clear to Tech TO. But even if the City of Toronto wasn't gathering that data, a second article here from CTV News from 11th of April 2020 is titled, "Phone Data Reveals Who is Staying Home During COVID-19." And this article reports that Environics Analytics, a company that aggregates data for analysis by businesses, released a report that maps the location of data of Canadians across the country in an effort to see who is venturing out of their homes and why. So these articles clearly demonstrate that you can easily be tracked through your cell phone, and to the detail of seeing that, oh, there's 5 cell phones in that house. That means there must be 5 people gathering there. That's an illegal gathering. Now, there's a number of things that you can do if you don't feel like sharing that sort of information with the government or other businesses. And these are just some completely legal things. Again, given the right to life, liberty, and security of the person, you're under no obligation to share this information with individuals if you don't want to. So one thing you can do that's quite easy is you can turn off location services on your phone. Another thing you can do is you can lock your cell phone so that it requires a password to get into the phone. Now, this won't protect you from tracking, but it'll certainly protect you from someone simply picking up your phone and having a look at who you've been talking to and reading some of those conversations. Another option, if you want to get a little bit more fancy, is you can invest in a Faraday bag. Now, what a Faraday cage is, in my non-scientist lawyer understanding, is it's a certain pattern weave of particular metal material that will completely block cell phone transmissions, cell phone signals, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Now, personally, the Faraday bag I like to use is from a company called Mission Darkness. And this is a bag where I just simply take my cell phone, put it inside. You can see it has this metallic material inside. Fold it over a couple of times to seal it with Velcro, and now my cell phone is completely invisible to anyone who might be looking for it. It can't receive phone calls, it can't send messages, it can't receive messages, it can't be detected, and my location cannot be determined. And this can be quite useful in circumstances where you want to bring your cell phone with you in case you get into a car accident and you need it, so then you have it with you, but you're not broadcasting your location, because of course, another option is you don't have to bring your cell phone with you everywhere you go. This isn't 1984, so you don't have to have the telescreen watching where you are. But that's an option if you want to have some added security. So these are just a couple of considerations, some practical considerations. If you're involved in any sort of legal situation, of course, don't just rely on these videos. Call me or call another lawyer. My 1-855 toll-free number is listed below. I'm happy to hear from you if you have any questions. This has been another episode of Don't Talk TV. I hope you found it interesting and informative. If you did, please consider liking it and sharing it.